Now, Ivanka Trump, daughter of former US President Donald Trump, is testifying at her father's civil fraud trial. These pictures show her arriving at the court in New York. Mr. Trump's accused of inflating the value of his assets by more than $2 billion. Ms. Trump is the final family member and witness to testify before the prosecution rests its case. The judge has already ruled that the former president significantly inflated the value of his properties. The trial focuses on charges of falsification of business records, insurance fraud and conspiracy. Well, to discuss this further, let's go live to our North America correspondent, Neda Tawfiq, who is at the court. Neda, what's the latest then? We saw Ivanka Trump arriving at court. What more do we know about what she said?
Yeah, well, Regina, I think we could kind of summarize Ivanka Trump's answers to prosecutors as "I don't recall." She repeated that several times, kind of echoing a lot of the strategy that her brothers have used in the past, saying a lot of the correspondence that they have showed her evidence of that she can't quite remember. And really, this goes back to her role being so intimately involved in securing loans for several Trump properties in Chicago, in Miami, the old post office in Washington, D.C. And because it was her husband, Jared Kushner, who introduced her to the private wealth management division of Deutsche Bank, she really had those correspondence back and forth on loans that would get them far better interest rates than a typical commercial real estate loan. And part of that meant that Donald Trump had to act as a guarantee for those loans. He had to hold a minimum net worth. He had to prove his liquidity. And so that's where his financial statements come into play. But Ivanka Trump, as prosecutors are trying to get better insight into what those conversations with the banks were, has, as I said, numerous times said she doesn't recall sending certain emails. She doesn't recall having certain meetings, that she didn't recall knowing much about her father's financial statements. So it's been an interesting morning, Regina, as prosecutors try to nail her down on significant details and specific conversations.
Just briefly, in about 20 seconds, Neda, just explain how she was a witness today, but initially she was a defendant.
That's right, Regina. Now, remember, all of the Trump family has been deposed when this was an investigation, but a court of appeals found that she had already left the organization, went to the White House on the kind of key time frame that this is looking at. They said they were too old, some of those claims, so she was taken out as a defendant.
OK, Neda Tawfiq, live from New York. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date. I should just say that we do have a live page on the BBC News website, which has all of the updates from that courtroom in New York. I'm Regina Vaidyanathan. Do stay with us. I'll be back after a break.